Coming to you live from Nairobi, Kenya. This is TV47 Weekend. Quite a number of stories lined up for you this particular evening, but first to our top picks. Tonight,
tulitoa principal chief hapa kwenda kumsika ripatu ambaye walipokotwa waliua na watu wengine wawili. Baadaye tena wakaua mtu mwingine. Leo tena usiku wakaua Waturkana ndugu zetu wawili.
5 people are dead in Samburu and Kerio Valley following a bandit attack. This despite heavy security presence in the area. Also tonight,
we are coming out an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth.
I will not accept and move on. Raila Odinga says he will reveal way forward for his supporters in the next 4 days.
Wanaume watasaana ama wanawake watasaana wachase ulimwengu.
And the court's directive on LGBTQ association continues to elicit Right, and welcome to TV47 Weekend. On the sign language, interpretation is Rhoda Nyamai. My name is Stanley Nyerungita. You can always talk to us on the socials below your screens. We begin with some security matters, and 2 children are among 4 people who have been killed by bandits in 2 separate incidences in Samburu County. The daring bandits raided Marti village last night, killing 2 children and making away with herds of cattle. And as if that was not enough, the criminals targeted another village, Nomololok, within Samburu County today, killing 2 people in the troubled Kerio Valley. The bandits killed 1 person this afternoon, bringing the total number of people killed by bandits in Kerio this week to 5. And as Elizabeth Ateno reports, tension remains high in areas hard hit by the attacks, with hundreds of families fleeing the area for fear of more attacks.
Saturday afternoon at the Samburu Referral Hospital mortuary, police vehicle arrives to bring the bodies of 4 Samburu residents. Among those dead are 2 children who were killed last night in their home in Marti, Samburu North. The other 2 are an elderly man and a herder who were ambushed and killed by bandits on Saturday afternoon in Lolomolog area, Samburu West.
Watu wetu wanauawa kila siku. Mmoja akizikwa, mwingine anauawa. We are tired. Sisi kama Wasamburu, in fact, sisi kama youth, sisi kama vijana wadogo tumechoka. Vijana wanauawa pamoja pia na wazee.
Leo tena usiku wakaua Waturkana ndugu zetu wawili pande ya Marti. Sasa sijui kama nini kitu gani inaendelea hapa. Sisi tumekuwa tunafika wengine, tunaingiza wengine kwa moja. Mpaka lini? Tunataka kuambia serikali hii ni nini inaendelea katika Samburu County.
The daring bandits have also killed 2 people in Elgeyo Marakwet County, with the recent attack happening on Saturday at 6 p.m. when a middle-aged man was killed in Chesongoch area, while another man who is also a peace activist was attacked and killed in Tot area, just 200 meters from a Kenya Defence Forces camp.
What was the reason for government to deploy security officers, and they are sitting pretty well in the camps? They have not started any operation, and we said operation must start immediately. So we are requesting the president to give instructions to ECSs to ensure they give command.
So far, 6 deaths have been reported in Kerio Valley in a span of 1 week, while in Samburu, 8 people have lost their lives and 1,500 families displaced in the same period. Learning has also been paralyzed in some of the disturbed and dangerous zones. For instance, 5 primary schools and 2 secondary schools have been closed down in Samburu and Elgeyo Marakwet counties.
Kuna haja tuumize watu wetu waishi kama umbwa, alafu wanaishi msituni, watoto wanateseka, shule hakuna. Two secondary school wamesikia juzi risasi mtu akauawa 100 meters from the school. Leo 200 meters from the school mwingine anauawa. Sasa hao watoto watakuwa wanasoma namna gani? We are breeding a very bitter generation that siku moja wataharibu, itakuja kuwa mbaya.
Leaders from Elgeyo Marakwet County, led by Governor Wesley Rotich, have criticized the killings and cattle rustling despite heavy presence of security forces in the area, including the Rapid Deployment Unit, the General Service Unit, the Anti-Stock Theft Unit, and General Duty Officers.
I want to request our Minister, Professor Kindiki, I want you to show the might of government. What they did today was less than 2 kilometers from a KDF camp with 300 KDF officers. From a GSU camp, has to come with another 150 officers. Few meters from Toth Police Station and few meters from Toth High School, where our children are studying. And already as governor, I've been threatened by so many of them, telling me there is nothing that the government can do to us because we are very powerful and we have powerful guns. I want you, Professor, to bomb that area. I want you to bomb these culprits so that they know the government exists.
Our Excellency, our beloved President, ya kwamba can you give out this command? Because ni kama kuna shida ya communication. Kwa nini hata hao banditry watu wanatisha na wanaona askari wa.
A call has been made to the government through the Cabinet Secretary for Interior, Professor Kithure Kindiki, to find a long-lasting solution and restore peace in the affected counties of Turkana, West Pokot, Baringo, Elgeyo Marakwet, Laikipia, and Samburu. Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47.
Tonight, the country was plunged into darkness following a major power outage that affected most parts of the country. In a statement, power distributing company Kenya Power said the country had experienced a nationwide power outage from 6:25 p.m. However, the power supply has been restored in Eldoret, Kisumu and Nakuru counties as Kenya Power works to restore power throughout the country. Initial reports indicate that the power outage was as a result of a fault that occurred on the Suswa Loyangalani high voltage transmission line. Right, and in case you have experiencing the whole power outage, you can always follow on our Facebook page at TV47 Kenya and get all the latest there. Now to matters politics, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has criticized Raila Odinga and his Azimio Brigade, accusing them of stealing the taxpayers' money, running into billions of shillings, including COVID-19 pandemic funds, which he says was stolen by senior government officials during the handshake tenure, days before the Kenya Kwanza administration took over power last September. Further, Gachagua has told off the Azimio team for what he says they have no moral authority to question the high cost of living in the country, saying they are part of the problem.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has poked holes on Azimio One Kenya Raila Odinga's call for the Kenya Kwanza government to address high cost of living in what he says they took part in emptying public coffers before handing over the government.
Money was stolen from COVID when people are dying. 2 days before the elections, they stole 6 billion and pretended to sell some shares from Telco.
Raila Odinga has been piling pressure on the government to deal with high cost of living in the public barazes in the recent meeting, giving an ultimatum to President Ruto to address the situation within 14 days.
Tukiweka Biblia chini, hii itafanyika. Ndani ya mwezi moja, gharama ya unga itarudi chini. Bei ya mafuta itarudi chini. Ati mahaslas tutainua hali yao. Tutaleta hustler fund. Tutaleta fund ya kina mama. Mambo ya karo tutaangalia. Si yale yote walikuwa wanatoa ahadi. Ilikuwa ni yao, ile ahadi yao ni kama kunyamba kwa punda.
However, DP Gachagua has told off the Azimio One Kenya Brigade, saying that they have no moral authority to lecture the government on high cost of living. According to Gachagua, during the election period, more funds were transferred overseas by government officials under their watch.
When there was a case before Supreme Court they stole another 10 billion, purportedly to pay some contractors. Money was being brought in cartons at Wilson Airport and flown with choppers to people's homes. And these are the people now, unasikia wanaambiwa kuja andika statement kidogo, anaingia ndege anatoka. And these people who are thieves who are calling others thieves.
In a meeting with professionals in Nyeri County, the DP promised Mount Kenya residents that the government will complete stalled projects in the region.
57 kilometers that are ongoing from Mau Road, we are going to complete all of them.
Elizabeth Mutuko, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, meanwhile, health facilities in Ongata Rongai, Kajiado County are on a high alert following a cholera outbreak in the area. 12 people are admitted at the Saitoti Sub-County Hospital, with the county government officials urging residents to observe proper hygiene to contain the disease. Gilbert Nalwa with the details.
12 cases of cholera have been reported in Ongata Rongai area, Kajiado County, with residents urged to exercise caution.
The government, through all its arms, is doing everything possible to ensure that all goes well.
Officers from the Kajiado County government have appealed to residents to remain calm as they put in place appropriate measures to contain the disease witnessed in some parts of the county.
We are at Ongata Rongai, Saitoti Hospital. We have a cholera outbreak in this hospital, or rather in Kajiado North. But I want to report that currently we have 12 patients, and the beauty is that all of them are stable.
The county executive in charge of health, Alex Leshinga, has confirmed that 12 people are admitted at the Saitoti Sub-County Hospital following the outbreak of the disease.
We have commodities that are needed to stabilize the patient, or rather to carry out the test. And therefore I want to tell the people of Kajiado, the people of Kajiado North, that there is no cause for alarm.
Leshinga further says there is no cause for alarm, urging residents to help contain the disease by maintaining cleanliness and refrain from consuming food from unlicensed caterers.
However, there is need to ensure that the environment we lived in is clean.
Wale wako kwa locations, sub-locations, wataendelea kuangazia na kusensitize wananchi ndio wazitumie maji chafu na waache kula chakula ambacho hakijadhibitiwa, na sana sana chakula kinazouzwa barabarani.
According to Joseph Wayaki, a public health officer in Kajiado North Sub-County, residents are supposed to take a personal responsibility to ensure their safety and always seek medical attention whenever they feel sick.
Nataka kuhamasisha wakaaji wa Kajiado North waweze kuchukua jukumu kujizuia na ugonjwa wa cholera ambao tumekuwa nao. Nataka watu waache kukula chakula ambacho kimepikwa barabarani. Mahindi ambayo inachomewa barabarani, mitura, imekuwa ni tisho kubwa. Tunataka kwamba watu waweze kuchemsha maji yao.
Gilbert Nalwa, TV47.
And back to some politics. Azimio Coalition Party leader Raila Odinga has rallied his supporters to brace for mass action next week, with just 4 days left on his ultimatum to President William Ruto. Odinga, speaking in Kisumu during the burial of Law Council of Elders chairman Willie Sopio, said he will give his supporters political direction once the 4 days deadline lapses. Apollo Kamau reports.
Azimio Coalition Party leader Raila Odinga rallied his Nyanza backyard to brace for his mass action call on Wednesday next week, when his 14 days ultimatum to President William Ruto comes to an end with just 4 days left. The burial of Law Council of Elders chairman Willie Sopio set the stage and mood for the much anticipated announcement, with Odinga's troops asking him not to relent in his quest for electoral justice and the high cost of living.
Zimepaki siku 4 peke yake, na yeye ataamua twende wapi, na sisi wote tutakuwa hapo, si ndio? Mtakuwa hapo. We are coming out an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. And to Ruto, we have seen many presidents in Kenya. More more powerful presidents than you, whom we did not recognize.
Therefore, I want to thank BAMBA for the decision that he has taken to push William Ruto to the periphery so that we can take over the leadership that every Kenyan gave us.
Those who voted for them and those who stood with Azimio, all of us together, Your Excellency, we are looking upon you now to deliver us.
Odinga, just like in the past week, repeated his clarion call challenging President William Ruto's victory while piling pressure for election results servers to be opened. The formation of the selection panel, a thorn in Azimio's flesh, with Odinga pledging his supporters to brace for his political direction.
Lord Waketo Kolegwili IBC Mamarekende. Uye konyi thurwa. Uye. Udagi. Udagi. Odongda langwan kende. Kuro odongda ladi. Odongda ladi. Odongda langwan. Aburo wachi moriere. Uye thurwa. Aburo nyusu moriere kayo madhiye. Kocha pokucha. Kaka juluo machon.
Odinga's call to action on Wednesday next week, which among other things include marching to State House to present a petition to President Ruto before heading to Mombasa for the Azimio People's Baraza this coming weekend. Apul Kamau, TV47.
And religious leaders in Nyamira County have threatened to stage a protest over the LGBTQ ruling that gave members of the community rights to associate, saying it goes against the African values. This as Nairobi Catholic Diocese Archbishop Philip Anyolo criticized the Supreme Court ruling, says it goes against the religious, cultural and moral values. Sylvia Nyongesa tells us more.
Days after a 5-judge bench of the Supreme Court issued a verdict allowing registration of LGBTQ associations, the ruling continues to dominate discussions on various platforms including Parliament, places of worship and community gatherings. Archbishop Philip Anyolo has been the latest religious leader to give his stand on the matter, noting that the ruling goes against biblical and African values and would therefore be opposed by the Catholic Church in Kenya.
LGBT is not something that is human and is not something that should be introduced in our country. It's a culture that's not African, it's a culture that is not Kenyan, it's a culture that is not Christian.
Bishop Anyolo has also called on the judiciary and the government to collaborate to safeguard the moral fabric of the Kenyan society.
We stand firm on the ruling that LGBT is illegal, it should be prohibited, and it should not be a matter of discussion among the people, among the Kenyans.
They hear it or they don't hear it. What we are saying, marriage is for a man and a woman. There is no other way.
Meanwhile, a section of Pentecostal religious leaders have threatened to lead peaceful demonstrations to protest the ruling should both the Senate and National Assembly fail to devise ways to overturn the ruling in 2 weeks.
Sisi, mukikataa, hata kama mtakataa kututetea, tunawapa kama wiki mbili kutoka sasa. Tutajitokeza katika barabara zote za Kenya ili tukaweze kukataa, tuonyeshe tumekataa kwa sababu ni mambo mabaya. Mungu alitoa kwamba msaane mchase ulimwengu. Wanaume watasaana ama wanawake watasaana wachase ulimwengu.
The clergy, who insist that the ruling by the highest court in the land violates the Christian faith, urged the National Council of Churches of Kenya, NCCK, and the Interreligious Council to come out to pronounce themselves on the matter. Political leaders in the Rift Valley also used various platforms during the weekend to rally their communities to ignore the judgment on LGBTQ, noting that same-sex relationships go against African traditions.
Ati mwanamke anakubaliwa kuoa mwanamke mwenzake. Si haya sasa, hiyo itakuwaje?
Hiyo hata haiwezi kufika mahali katika Kenya. Kuna vitu ambavyo hata haistahili kusemwa, wacha hata ile kufanywa.
President William Ruto had earlier condemned the ruling, even as other political leaders called on Western countries to stop imposing their practices to the Kenyan people. Sylvia Nyongesa, TV47.
And to some education matters, parents and teachers in West Pokot County are up in arms over the delayed disbursement of textbooks for grade 7 learners, stating that they are forced to purchase the learning materials in the nearby shops. And as the Ministry of Education insists that there is a good progress in achieving the 100% transition of learners, Azimio allied legislators have maintained that the curriculum should be reverted to the 844 system.
Good morning, sir.
How are you? The English lesson is underway.
Thank you, sir, and welcome.
As these grade 7 students from Chelumbai Primary in West Pokot County actively participate.
Thank you, sir.
However, as the teachers put a brave face to pass the knowledge to learners, they say the resources are scarce and achieving the government's 100% transition for the junior secondary in the area will be an uphill task. This as teachers dig deeper into their pockets to purchase the books.
But now we have a bag. Can we get another one?
Na tunajua kwamba hatujapata vitabu kutoka kwa serikali. Tumepata vitabu viwili tu ya Kiingereza, that is English and life skills. Those are the only books that we have received by now.
Naomba waziri wa elimu Ezekiel Machoku pamoja na wale ambao mnashikilia nyanja za elimu msaidie kuangalia, mufika West Pokot muangalie mashule zinapatikana, maana saa hizi watoto wanateseka sana.
Kuna confusion mingi na kuna walimu wa kora ambayo sio walimu wote, lakini kuna watu hata viongozi ya mashule wanataka kutumia advantage ya gaps katika JSS Junior Secondary Schools ku exploit wazazi.
On Thursday, the Cabinet Secretary of Education, Ezekiel Machogu, noted that over 160,000 students have not yet reported to school, a situation that leaders allied to the Azimio One Kenya coalition say is failure to the competency-based curriculum.
So we are going to call upon everybody or anybody who is responsible to convene an urgent stakeholders meeting, to convene an urgent national dialogue, to look for ways to progress this matter of education system in this country.
This even as CS Machogu has stood his ground that the government will not revert to the 844 system, further calling on legislators to aid in the funding of the junior secondary. And into the wonderful world of sports. Round 32 of the Mozart Bet Cup kicked off earlier today with 9 matches taking shape in various stadia across the country. Tusker FC dominated its respective match against Berlin FC to secure a 7-0 win after Chopin Oyuki scored the opener in the 28th minute before Eric Ngava extended the lead with a second goal only 2 minutes later. Ngava added the third goal for Robert Matano's side in the second half as Stuart Omondi scored a hat-trick for the Brewers before Shami Kibona sealed the victory with the 7th goal in the dying minutes of the game. Other matches in the tournament saw KCB FC defeat Mofa FC 1-0, Ulinzi Stars thrashed Kajiado FC 2-0, while Muranga Seal eased past Luanda Villa with a 4-1 scoreline.
Imekuwa poa, game haijakuwa mbaya. Tumefungwa bao dakika za kwanza which hiyo ndio challenge kubwa. Alafu ni vijana wadogo, tunajaribu kujel team. Iko na 3 months but wamenifurahisha, wamecheza vizuri sana. Of which tunatarajia positive results. Quarter of the team ni wale wamemaliza form 4 last year. Most of them ni 17-18. So tuko wachezaji senior team ni kama wawili peke yake ndio walikuwa hapo ndani. So hao wengine ni vijana wadogo, wako na long way to go. Wako na vitu mingi sana za kufanya. Wamenifurahisha, wamefanya vitu positive kulingana na preparation yetu. So I'm happy.
Ya team tumecheza nayo ilikuwa timu na vijana chipukizi, wametupatia muda mgumu sana. But all in all kwa knockout ukipata win ndio the most important thing. So saa hizi tunajaribu tu tuende tupumzike, alafu tutafikiria hiyo mechi nyingine baadaye. Kwa mechi za knockout kitu muhimu ni ushindi. So tulipopata bao tukaweza control game baada ya kupata bao mpaka dakika ya mwisho. But unaona pia hao vijana tumecheza nao ni vijana wazuri, wako na good players. So haikuwa rahisi kwetu hata ingawaje sisi ni team iko Premier League. So nafikiri ni hongera kwa timu ile tumecheza nayo, wamecheza vizuri na wakiendelea hivyo siku moja pia watajipata Premier League.
And to some rugby action, KCB RFC earlier today completed a double against Menengai Oilers after thrashing them with scores of 38-20 in the National Rugby Sevens League Kenya Cup semi-final tie at the KCB Ruaraka Lions Den grounds to qualify into the finals of the competition. Darren Mukidza scored a brace of tries in the first half to give the Bunkers a comfortable lead in the first half before Samuel Asati and Michael Kimwele scored tries in the second half to secure the victory for Dennis Monjo's Chargers. Speaking after the match, KCB RFC captain Curtis Lako congratulated his teammates for registering the good results as he urged them to remain focused for the final match against bitter rivals Cabras Sugar. The other semi-final match of League Soccer, Cabras Sugar rallying to a 22-3 victory over Kenya Harlequin and qualifying into the finals.
We have worked so hard for, had a very good pre-season, had the games before the playoffs were good, had a few bad days, good days, but I think this time round we say we want to go the whole way. We learned a few things from the last season, so we just said let's see what we can do better. We're going to give our all. We just remember the game we had here, the mistakes that we made, and again it's a final, and now we have to go all guns out. Let's see what the coaches have planned for this week, and we just go all in.
I think we started off very slowly. We did not concentrate enough, and we struggled in the set pieces. That proved to be very hard against a KCB side, which is I can say is a very good side, well drilled. They are very efficient once they get into the green zone. Yeah, and they could not respond in the second half. We tried to mount a comeback. It was not to be. I think I must give credit to the boys. They did well in the first 25 minutes, and then we let off a little bit. And then when you let off against a good side like KCB, it proves always hard to mount a comeback.
And James Mo Rambugua, a renowned triathlon athlete, has broken the record of running from Kisumu to Mombasa within 13 running days and 14 resting days in the congenital heart disease disease run that aims at creating awareness and generating donations for children suffering from the disease. Mora's solo effort in the charity run has seen him generate at least 120,000 Kenyan shillings from well wishers to help treat the disease suffering children at the Tenwek Hospital in Baringo County and the Care for Child's Heart Home in Nairobi. Speaking after successfully completing the grueling challenge, encouraging the youth to emulate him in the championing for the vulnerable in the community. Previously, Mora took part in extreme athletics, including the 2021 Africa Triathlon Duathlon Championships in Windhoek, Namibia, and the 2021 Africa Triathlon Championships in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt.
On 4th of Feb, we've ended today on 4th of March. 28 days, but we've been running for 13 days. Hizo zingine zimekuwa siku za kupumzika kwa sababu kumekuwa na issues za magoti, kumekuwa na issues hapa na pale za kimwili na ilibidi nichukue rest. Nafurahi kwa sababu ni rekodi, nafurahi sana kwa kuwa at least hata mamangu akiwa nyumbani anajua ya kwamba kijana wake amekuwa kijana wa kwanza Kenya kukimbia kutoka Kisumu hadi Mombasa. Again, also it's the most important thing. Tumeweza kufundraise ya wale watoto wenye wamekuwa na congenital heart disease. We've raised about 120,000 and I'm really happy about that. We were targeting about 9 million, but still the thing is ongoing. It's still going on. The kids are still there, so you still needed. And I believe that through this, people are going to be inspired and even shaken to keep sending those contributions to these kids who